eraser really put you at ease.
Yeah.
Okay.
I almost considered writing on my notes. That's the eraser I would
Oh man. All right. So, what example number are we on? 6? Example 7. Okay. So we're just going to make sure it makes sense. And then I have a punchline math sheet for you today. You do the math, and then there's a punchline. And the fun thing about the punchline is that I made this. I didn't find it online. I didn't steal it from another teacher. I made it myself. I was right. I was right. I was right. I was right. Huh? Oh, it was very good. I mean, when you finish the math.
I love these assignments. They're very easy.
I tried to like waggle my eyebrows at you, but since my headache treatments include Botox, my forehead doesn't move the way it used to. All right, let's move on. Okay, so the first fraction, the first rational expression is x minus 4 over 9x minus 18. And the second one, we are subtracting off 6x over 3x. Okay. So when we look at the denominator for the first rational expression, what do we see with the denominator? Yeah, both of those terms are divisible by 9, so that means we have a GCF, right? So we take out the 9, and what do we get? X minus 2. Okay. What about the denominator over here? That's just a monomial. So we just have to think, what happens when you kind of break up a monomial? You have a 3 and an x. Okay, so since I have a 3 and an x, I'm going to go back over here to this binomial that we factored the GCF out of, and I'm going to look at the GCF, and I'm going to see if that GCF can be broken up a little bit. Just because I'm keeping in mind this monomial that I had, I broke it up as a 3 times x. So if you look at the 9, can you break up that 9 a little bit? What would it be? 3 times 3. Okay, so I'm going to think of that 9 as like a 3 times 3, and then I've got x minus 2. And I'm only doing that because I want to be able to relate that 9 to the 3 times x. I want to be able to see how those denominators compare. And a lot of people don't write this down. A lot of people do that in their heads. I'm only writing this down because I want to have a really good example in my notes. Okay? All right, so now that I've done this, what is in common between the two of these? What do they both have? We've got a 3, and one has 1 3, one has 2 3s, so what are we going to need? 2 3s. We're going to need 2 3s. Okay. And then what else are we going to need? We're going to need an x, because the one on the right has an x. And then we're going to need an x minus 2, because the one on the left has an x minus 2. Okay. So if we multiply the stuff in the front, what is that? 9x, x minus 2. So that's what our denominator is going to be. It's going to be 9x, x minus 2. Okay. So if we look at this denominator right here, we've got the 9, we've got the x minus 2. What are we going to need? We're going to need the x. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's start writing out that first fraction. So we've got the x minus 4. We've got the 9. We've got the x minus 2. We just need to multiply by the x on the top, and we need to multiply by the x on the bottom. Are we okay with how I showed my work? Okay. Oh, hello. You can bring me food anytime. Don't even feel embarrassed. Bye. All right, minus. Okay, over here we have a 3 and an x. We have a 3 and an x. So I'm going to cover those up. And so what do we have left over? Another 3 and an x minus 2. That's what we're going to need. Another 3 and an x minus 2. I'm going to write down that's what I need. I need another 3 and an x minus 2. Okay, so let's go ahead and write that. We've got 6x, we've got the 3x, and we're going to need a 3 and an x minus 2 on the top, and we're going to need a 3 and an x minus 2 on the bottom. Okay, we comfortable? Yes? Okay. So for the first term, what do I have? Okay, I've got x squared minus 4x. Okay. And then here I have 6x times 3. What is 6x times 3? Okay, I've got 18x. Okay, and then here I've got x, the x minus 2. Alright, so when I do 18x times x and times negative 2, what do I get? Okay. Now, in the video, I believe I was just leaving it there, right? We were just getting common denominators. But we know how to finish it from there, don't we? Okay, so let's go ahead and just finish it. There might not be anything canceling here because I didn't manipulate these like perfect and make something cancel, but let's go ahead and see what we get. So we've got the common denominator of 9x and x minus 2. And so what should we do next? Yeah, distribute that negative. So keep the x squared minus 4x. And then minus 18x squared. And then what would be last? You've already combined like terms before that. Plus 36x. Okay, perfect. Okay. And so we know that's plus 32x, right? If you combine the negative 4 and the positive 36. And then what's the first term? X squared. Okay. And then is there anything we can do on the top? Take out the negative. Anything else we can do on the top? Take out an x. There's a GCF of an x. Okay. So we'll take out a negative and we'll take out an x. Does anything reduce? Are you sure?
Yeah, the X and the 9.
The X and the X.
Yeah.
Yeah, from the GCFs, the X and the X do. That X and that X cancel. So not as much reduces as we would like to, but a little bit did. Okay, so we're going to say our final answer is negative 17x minus 32 over 9 times x minus 2. It's not a very pretty answer, but there it is. Don't forget to rectangle it.
No, I wasn't talking about the other column.
Or don't forget to oval your answer, if that's your style. Yeah. When...
Oh, you're boxing it. Yeah. Oh, wow. I boxed it.
like literally making it look like a box. I like it. All right, example 8. Oop, you're gonna have to write small. All right, last one. We're just gonna make sure that we got it, that we're good, and then I'll let you guys work on the worksheet. Okay. We got p minus 3 over 15p squared plus 3p minus 2 over 2p. So what should we do with the first fraction? Okay, factor out the GCF of 3p.
What about reducing the second fraction? You could turn that into 2. You could turn that into 1 over p first. Would that make it easier?
You can do that.
Alright.
Let's keep doing the first one first, and then we can do what you talked about for the second. So we got 3p times what? 5p plus 1. Okay. And then, Alex, what did you propose to do for the second one?
Divide the second one by 2.
Okay. So we're going to take the top and the bottom and just reduce it. So instead of leaving it as 2 over 2p, Alex was saying the 2's would cancel. And you can just call it 1 over p. Are you guys all okay with doing that? Okay. So if we do that, then the denominator is just p. All right. So if we look between the two denominators, what do we need? We need a 3. We need, so each of them just have a p, right? So that's in common, so we just need one of those. And then what else do we need? A 5p plus 1. Okay. So what do you notice about the first fraction? It's done. It's got everything. So we just get to copy that one down. P minus 3 over 3p times 5p plus 1. That one is good. Okay. And then what do you guys notice about the second fraction?
Just a 1.
Well, not just a 1, it's just a p, right? It just has the p. So what is it missing? The 3. It's missing the 3, and it's missing the 5p plus 1. Okay. So for the second one, we're going to write the 1 and the p, and then it's missing the 3 and the 5p plus 1. Okay. So 1 times 3 is 3. And what do you get when you distribute the 3? Close. You get really close. Oh, plus 3. Not plus 5. Plus 3. Plus 3. Don't worry about what I wrote. Okay. And so now we have that common denominator of 3p times 5p plus 1. We have p minus 3 for the first one, that first rational expression. And then what do we have to do? Distribute the negative. And what do we get? Okay. And so what do we have now? Negative 14p minus 6. Okay. And then do you guys notice any factoring that we can do? We can take out a negative 2. Okay. So if we take out a negative 2 on top, what's going to be left over? You're close. Plus 3. 3p, 5p plus 1. So both of these answers are good because when we took out the negative 2, it doesn't cancel. So if you can look at it and go, well, I can take out a negative 2, but it's not going to help me, then you can leave this as the final answer. But if you need to take out the negative 2 so that you can see that it doesn't help you, then this is a fine final answer as well. They are both good. And I could see both of them being the final answer for a multiple choice problem. So they're equally accurate. They both work. Okay. How are your brains feeling? Brains feeling nice and confident about this? So you've noticed that adding that extra step of finding the denominators yourself made it a little bit more tedious. These problems are tedious. They have lots of steps, but they're not necessarily difficult. So once you learn the steps, they're doable, they just take some time. Make sense? Okay. Okay. So let me go ahead and hand out the assignments so you guys can get to work on them, and then you just need to let me know if you get stuck on a problem, okay? Or if you guys want me to do one with everybody. Okay. All right, so here's number, I don't remember what number 8 looks like. Number 6, let's do number 6. Okay, so if we look at the denominators, the first one you can't do a whole lot with, that's just a number. What about the second one? Yeah, you can take out a 5. Okay, let's do that. So we take out a GCF of 5, and then what's left over? N plus 1. Okay. That's just a 6. Okay. So if you look at your common denominator, what does your common denominator need to have? A 6 and a 5 and an N plus 1. Okay? So your common denominator is going to be 6 times 5, which is 30. So it's going to be 30 times n plus 1. That's what your common denominator is going to be. Okay. So your first fraction only has the 6. So what does it need? Needs the 5 and an n plus 1. So we're going to write 4n over 6, and then it needs the 5 and the n plus 1, the 5 and the n plus 1. So there's our first fraction. Are we good so far? We don't need to. You can if you want, but you don't need to. And then the second one has a 5 and an n plus 1, so what does it need? It needs a 6. So we got 6n plus 6. And it has the 5 and the n plus 1, it needs a 6. Okay. So I've got 6 times 5 is 30. Okay. What is 4n times 5? 4n times 5. 20n. Okay, so this is 20n. And what happens with 20n when you distribute it to n plus 1? We're multiplying. Okay, 20n squared plus 20n. Okay, minus. Okay, 5 times 6 is 30. N plus 1. Okay. And then over here, we have a 6 multiplied by 6n and a 6 multiplied by 6. Okay, 36n plus 36. Okay. Okay, so now let's go ahead and write this with the common denominator. So we've got 20n squared plus 20n minus 36n minus 36. So if we combine like terms, what do we have? Okay. And then what do you guys notice on the top? There's a GCF of 4. Everyone see that between 20, 16, and 36. There's a GCF of 4. Everyone see that? So we can take 4 out of 20, we can divide 4 out of 16, we can divide 4 out of 36. All of those are divisible by 4. Okay. So let's go ahead and divide the 4 out. Okay. And then once you divide the 4 out, can you tell what type of factoring that is? Slide divide. Now, they're not always like this. You guys have noticed that, right? They're often like GCF or the regular. So this is not a normal problem, which is why I said, oh, 6 is not a bad one to do. We could do this one because slide divide doesn't happen very many times on this worksheet. This, is it the only one? I think this might be the only slide divide on this worksheet. So you guys might have picked a really good one to do. Okay. So this is a slide divide problem. How do we know that we took a GCF out and it is still a slide divide problem? Yeah, it's got the 5. We took out 4 and it's still got 5 there. So when you still have a number in front of the n squared, that's why it's a slide divide. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's do that part, the slide divide part. So 5 times negative 9 is negative 45. So we're looking for two numbers that multiply to negative 45 but add to negative 4. Negative 9 and positive 5. Okay. So the parentheses right now are n minus 9 and n plus 5. We slid a 5 over, so what number do we divide by? 5. So what should our parentheses be? Okay, so I've got 4 times 5n minus 9 times n plus 1 divided by 30 times n plus 1. And so what can reduce there? The n plus 1s, and what else can reduce? The 4 and the 30, what can they reduce by? 2. So 4 divided by 2 is, and 30 divided by 2 is, so our final answer, we have 2 times 5n minus 9 over 15. All right, go ahead and turn that to the back. What letter is that? E. So number 6 is E. Boom. All right, so that's what you're doing. So as you go, your answer should perfectly match up with one of the answers on the back, or it means you did something wrong. Okay? So that's the benefit of having the punchline. That's part of why I made the sheets this way, so that you could check your answers as you go. If you need to see the steps to the answer, I have solutions in the back for you if you need them. Okay? Any questions? No? Yes. Because I made an answer key last period and I went ahead and put that up too. They're the same. Yeah. Unless one of them is a typo, which is possible. Yeah. All right, go ahead and get started.